Welcome back. Alright, in this video we're going to create a title screen. That way our game has a bit of a front door when we do finally come around to building it. So it'll be just a simple user interface with a title, a start button, and a quit button. So let's get started. So let's create a new scene. So let's go to File, New Scene. We're going to create a new basic 2D built-in. And we're gonna go ahead and just press Ctrl S so we can get ready to save this in our scenes folder, and we're gonna name it main menu. Interesting. I most definitely do. I'll check that out later. So anyways, so now that you're staring at this completely empty world, we're going to right click in our hierarchy. We're going to go to UI canvas, and we're going to select the canvas option right here. So this canvas, if we zoom out, is really large, but think of it like an invisible sheet of glass pressed right up against the player's monitor. Everything related to the menu, the buttons, the text, the images must live inside this canvas for it to work. So before we add anything, let's go ahead and make a few changes. We're going to look for our canvas scaler. If you don't see it, make sure you have your canvas selected in the hierarchy. In this canvas scaler, we want to change this to scale with screen size, this UI scale mode. What we're going to do is we're going to set the reference by default to be 1920 by 1080. So now when we set that, Unity will automatically mathematically stretch and shrink our menu so it looks perfect regardless of the screen that the game is played on. So let's go ahead and add some graphics. Let's right click on our canvas. We're going to come down here to UI, and we're going to add an image. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Do we have any images? We may not have any that we can use. Well, we can just use this this guy right here, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and stretch this image by grabbing the corners. We're going to just have it fit inside the bounds of the camera here. Just like that. It should snap to the camera borders like it did for me. We're going to drag this background over here into the source image. You should see it change now. So if we look at our game view, you'll see the clouds there. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and right click on canvas again. We're going to come down here to UI, and because we did Text Mesh Pro earlier, you shouldn't have any issues with this, but we're going to choose Text Mesh Pro, and you should see it pop up. Now because it is really bright, let's name this Platformer Demo. There we go. And if we zoom in on this, whoops, it's still selected on the text box, but you can see that it's right there. We're going to go ahead and drag this out to increase the size of that, and then we're going to go ahead and move this up. We'll just let's see, center it with the alignment. That's auto size, so it's larger. We're going to change the text to be this black color is fine. I don't know, let's see. That red doesn't look too bad either right there, but we'll just leave it black. That's fine. We're gonna close that, bolden it so it pops a little more. So I ended up clicking auto size here. So if you turn on auto size, it will change the font size based on how large your text box is. So that's why it was growing as I was dragging it out. Now let's go ahead and add a couple of buttons. So click on your canvas, right click on it. We're going to UI canvas. We're going to come down here to button. We're going to add 2 of them, but this one is going to be called start button. And then go ahead and press Control D to duplicate it. And we're going to move this down. And we're going to change the name of this to quit button. I'm going to go ahead and move those up. Let's increase the size of them. $200 might be too big. 150. 100. So I just made them larger so they didn't show up so super tiny on the screen. The dimensions 300 width, 100 height, and then in order to make sure the text shows up properly, let's go ahead and click auto size for that as well for both of those. And that'll increase the text size as well. And now let's get into the code. Alright, so with for our code, we're going to go ahead and create an empty object. We're going to name this menu manager. And then we're going to go ahead and in our scripts folder, create a script of the same name. So menu manager. I also realized that my buttons still say buttons, so let's click on the text object of each one and change those. So for start, it should say start. And for the quit button, it should say quit. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and drag our menu manager onto the menu manager object, and we'll double click on that to open that up. Alright, up at the top we're going to need to use our scene management namespace. Up at the top we're going to need to use our scene management namespace. And then let's see, what else do we need? We're not going to need the start or the update for this, so we can go ahead and delete those. What we are going to need to do is create a brand new a couple of brand new methods. Sorry, I don't know why I was drawing a blank there on the words. The first one's going to be play game or start game. I'm calling it play game. And what it's going to do is we're going to use the scene manager. We're going to have to load level 1, and then for the quit game we're going to tell it to quit the application. But because we can't quit the application inside the editor, for us, for testing purposes, it's just going to print in the console games exiting. Alright. So let's save that, and we're going to go back to Unity and wire it back up together. Now we're back inside the Unity editor. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on our start button. We're going to come down here to this OnClick event. We're going to press the plus sign, and we're going to drag in our menu manager over here. And when we drag that in, we get access to this function drop down. We're going to find our menu manager script, and we're going to look for play game and click on that. And then we're going to repeat the process with the quit button, and instead of play game we're going to look for quit game. So now if I press play, or before I press play actually, make sure you go to scenes and make sure your level 1 is actually named level 1. If it still says sample scene, then it's not gonna work. You'll need to go into the code and change it to say sample scene. But let's see. Let's press play. Now that we're in play mode, I'm gonna press quit first. You see it says game is exiting, so that works. And now let's press play, or press start. And it loads. Now it's not playing the sound because I forgot that I had turned off the sound over here on the audio source. So that's why that messed up there. Let's go ahead and save that, and I'll turn that on real quick. But now that everything is working just the way we needed to, we're gonna go ahead and build a quick game over screen. I was gonna have it in 2 separate videos, but we'll just do it in this one. It'll just be a little bit longer, so let's get to it. Alright, so for this working, I'm gonna do this in our level 1. I'm gonna right click on our canvas, and I'm gonna add a panel. So UI canvas panel. I'm gonna name this game over panel. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just change the color of the background to be black. I'm gonna bring this alpha layer right here over to the right so it darkens up a little bit. Alright, and inside of this panel, I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna come down here to UI canvas. We're gonna go to text, and we're gonna name this, and we're just gonna type in game over, and I'll name this, just because I want to keep things organized, game over text. And let's see here, let's go into our scene. I'm gonna actually move this up a little bit, kind of center the box right there. Actually, that is centered where it was, so I'll leave it there. Alright, now we need to add a button. We'll add 2 of them. So let's go to UI canvas. We're going to come down here to button, and we're going to call this button the main. We'll just say restart, and then we'll duplicate it and drag it down. It should be restart button, and we're going to name this one quit button. There we go. Alright, let's open up those, grab the text, and we're going to name them for what they're gonna do. Restart, and then quit. There we go. Alright, because we obviously don't want our game over panel showing while we're playing, we're gonna make sure it's selected for this. We're gonna come over to the right in the inspector and uncheck this little box up here next to the name game over panel, so that way it's hidden. And now we need to open up our game manager script, so let's go ahead and do that. And now we need to add a script to our game manager, so click on your game manager. We're going to come over here to our scripts. We're going to name or create a script with the same name, and we're going to call it game manager. And go ahead and just drag that onto your game manager. And let's open that up. Alright, first things first, we need to add our scene management namespace in there. We're also going to add a variable for our game over UI object. That's what we're going to place our panel in. We're also going to need to create a public method. This one is going to be called game over, and what it's going to do is when it is triggered, it's going to turn on the game over UI and then freeze the game. It's very simple there. So now that we have that, so we're going to add two new variables. The first one, well, not new, one's new, the other one's not. The first one's going to be restart level, and it's going to unpause the code and start running it again. Then it's going to load the active scene, the one that you died in. In this case, it'll be our level 1. If we go to our our menu manager, we're going to copy this quick game code and just drop that in there. Alright, so now what we need to do is make sure that our player dies. When our player dies, it triggers the game over. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go into our player controller. We're going to come down here to the death sequence, and I'm actually going to just comment this out right here. And what I'm gonna put in is we're gonna do find. I think we can do FindObjectOfType, and then we're gonna put in game manager, and then we're gonna we're going to run the game over method, and that should work. So what this is going to do is it's going to search the level for something called game manager, and it's going to say, and it's going to look for the game over script. And here, this one line here means that it doesn't like that code, because in this case it's deprecated, so it's obsolete. They're not using it anymore traditionally. So we're gonna, and it wants us to change it to find first object by type. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna say find first object by type, and it still didn't. Why didn't you like that now? It wants us to use find any object by type. Either way, it should have still worked. Yeah, it'll most likely have worked. So if you didn't want to go through all that hassle, then don't worry about it. Inside of our Unity code, we're gonna drag our not the score text. We're gonna click on our game manager, drag our game over panel over to it, and that should pop up. We did not alright, so it did not trigger. Why did it not trigger? So why didn't it trigger? Let me see something really quick. I'm gonna get hit by an enemy and see what happens. Okay, that enemy didn't want to hit me. I thought we fixed that bug already. Alright, so still gotta fix that circle bug. I don't know why that one wasn't hitting me, but that one hit me and it worked. So I think the issue is here with our spikes. Let's go ahead and press quit and see what happens. Nothing happens because we didn't hook them up yet, and that's fine. If you couldn't hear me because of the music, I forgot to turn that off. I was testing to try to figure out why it wasn't triggering when I went into the spikes, and I think the issue is with the spike code, and I'll open that in a second. But the buttons didn't work because we didn't hook them up yet, so let's do that real quick. If you click on your restart, we can click on this OnClick event, press the plus sign, and then drag our game manager into it. We're just going to look for game manager and then go to restart level. We're going to repeat the process with the quit button. Drag the game manager, go to the game manager script, choose quit level, and then those will work. Go ahead and save your work just in case so it doesn't crash on you and you lose everything. And then let's open up our hazard script. Oh, excuse me. Alright. And so that's what happened right here. See, we have this right here. So let's go to our enemy AI. We should have something in there that fixes that. Let's see. There we go. We can take this code here and we should be able to just drop it into here. And we need a reference to the player, that's why. So I'm gonna need to call the player inside a start menu, a start function real quick. So let's go to start. We'll add that in, and we already have that in our here in our enemy AI, so we can just copy that over. And it still doesn't like that. Why? Because there's a reference to the player I'm missing, which is this public transform right here, or private transform. And then it should, all this, I don't need that spawn point nonsense right there anymore. So we can just do that. Now it should work. There we go. There's that delay, and that's why I'll probably remove the delay, but it did work. Just in case you couldn't hear me over the sound, it did work. As you can see, there's the delay that we have plugged in, and so I'll probably remove that delay. 2 seconds is a lot to be just looking at a blue screen. So I pressed the quit button, and obviously that worked. Let's go ahead and press restart, and it should bring us back to the level 1. And there it is. A little bit of debugging issues, but we got it working. So there's that going. In the next video, that's going to be it. We're going to just build this. I apologize for all the errors and stumbling through, but we got it working, and that's the important part. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or if you're in my class, swing by my classroom and I will help you out. Keep learning, keep building. I'll see you in the next video.